Well, hello everybody in YouTube land. This is why I left T-Mobile, the worst cell company I've ever had, and I still have issues with them. This is ridiculous. So for a long story short, when I first got a cell phone, it was through AT&T and never really had an issue with that. But then I switched from AT&T to Cricket because Cricket uses AT&T service towers and it was like half price kind of thing, right? So, and I never had issues with it. And for about, I don't know, 6, 7 years, I had no problems with Cricket. My service was always great. I had no problems at all, so I paid my bill and I always do monthly. So it makes it so much easier for me to pay monthly than to have that contract bullshit going on. And I own my own phones. So I went from a Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which I had with Cricket, and I bought my S23 Ultra. Okay, so now my S23 I just got last year in 2024. So not even a year ago did I switch from Cricket to T-Mobile because ironically, the 5G system on my S23 Ultra was not supported through Cricket, but my S20 Ultra was. I still don't understand, but they said, their system was not updated to handle my phone. Okay, so I had to find another service contractor. So I figured, okay, I'll go with T-Mobile. There's a store down the street. It'll make it easier. So I went ahead and I went into the company and I switched to T-Mobile. Now, in the process of doing this, the first thing that happens is it's like I'm noticing, I got 4 bars, Wi-Fi signal bars on my phone, and I'm only getting 2 in my house where I always had 4 with Cricket and AT&T and I'm like, all right, so I'm like, I still get service, so I'm not going to say anything about it. But then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I go to text a picture or a video or whatever, or if somebody texts me information, it wouldn't load. It would be, it would just like be freezing in there. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm not kind of paying attention to it and I'm not understanding that my signal isn't working and I have to wait for the signal to cut in for the texts to work, you know what I mean? So when I finally realized that this was an issue, I called T-Mobile and I'm like, I'm getting 2 bars in my house and the cell tower, I know there's a cell tower just a few blocks from my house and I've never had this issue. And I have a friend who has an Obama phone and they come in my house and they still get 4 bars, but yet with T-Mobile, I'm getting 2. What? That doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm like, okay, so I'm like, all right, I can deal with this. I'm like, I'm still able to use my phone, and I still get on the internet in my house because my Wi-Fi in my house is connected to my phone. So I'm good with this. But then a month ago, I went on a road trip and from here to like New Orleans and back. So it wasn't like I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for those of you who don't know. So I went from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Atlanta, Georgia, all the way down to New Orleans, over into Florida, and up the East Coast through South Carolina and so forth, home. But as I was driving, I was using the GPS on my phone and my Echo Auto, which is connected to my car for music, that's connected to my phone. And I'm driving through such as like North Carolina. There was a portion of North Carolina I drove through. There was a portion of Atlanta I drove through that I lost my Echo Auto. And I'm like, the signal went out on that. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's a fluke. But then I realized my GPS wasn't working. Then I look at my phone and I have no bars. I have no Wi-Fi on my phone. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? I'm driving nowhere, out of nowhere, and I have no GPS signal. So I just keep driving down the road until my signal picked back up again. And that's how I did my whole trip. It seemed like every state I went to, I lost signal. I have traveled a lot, especially with cricket. When I had cricket, and I never lost signal like this. So I'm like, no, when I get home, I'm switching carriers. Like, there's no way I can deal with this anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. So, okay, fine. So I come home and I look at my billing cycle and I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch now. And I went to Verizon because I have Verizon in my house as far as internet connection. So I'm going to get the cell service through Verizon. And if it doesn't work, I'll just go right back to AT&T. So anyway, I go ahead and I contact T-Mobile and I put in my security code, because you got to put in your security code to get into your account every time you want to talk to them. Or in this case, for me to transfer my phone to Verizon, I had to put in my security code. So I put in my security code. It gives me a passcode for Verizon so I could switch my service. All right, I'm thinking this is all well and good. We're all done with all this and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm finally over T-Mobile. I got my chippy thing for, what do you call it? I don't know. The chip, you know, for Verizon for my phone. And I installed it and I get my service. And sure enough, in my house, I'm back to 4 bars. I don't have any texting issues. It's like my signal is perfect. I don't even have to use my Wi-Fi in my house now, because like it's all hooked up to my phone and everything's working perfectly fine. And I've been out driving and my signal on my service on my phone is perfectly fine with AT&T. So it's much faster. Like when I go to YouTube videos, you know, or you know, searching online for anything, it's like it's faster than it was. I didn't realize there was a hesitation, slowness with T-Mobile, and I'm like, I didn't realize it until I got Verizon, because I'm like, wait a minute, I got a brand new phone, man. It's like my phone is really fast now. I can tell a difference. So, okay, fine. You know, I'm doing really good with Verizon and I have no issues with that right now. And then I received my last bill from T-Mobile. Now, before I switched and I called them to complain about not having service along the road as I was driving, I was never given any type of credit. Now, I was gone for 2 weeks. And every time I turned around, I was losing Wi-Fi and losing cell service to my phone. Literally, cell service. I could not call anybody because I had no service on my phone in different parts of each state that I drove through. I got nothing. Okay, so finally, you know, the other day I received my last service bill from T-Mobile. My last service bill. All right, you know. It's for $1. $1, right? So I said, okay, fine. I went online to try to pay it, because they give you a code to pay it online, and there's a $5 minimum fee, right? So I can't pay it online because it's only $1 and not $5. So okay, I can't do that. So today I figured I'm going to call them on the phone. So today I call T-Mobile on the phone about this dollar charge to pay the bill. They asked me for my security code. And first of all, the automatic teller asked me for it, and it said, you know, it's the wrong number, blah, 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 blah. So then I finally got an operator on the phone, and they were like, we need the security code. It's not going through. It's not the right number. And I'm like, it's the same security code I used for T-Mobile, for Cricket. It's the same code I use for AT&T. It's the same. Like, I have never changed this code. I use it for a lot of things, right? So I'm like, I don't know why it's not working on your end. You know, let me speak to a supervisor. The guy on the phone says, well, I can't give you a supervisor because they're going to tell you the same thing. Unless you have a security code, we can't get into your account and we can't do nothing to help you. I said, I am going to pay a $1 fee, my last charge. That's all I'm calling for. And he says, well, we can't do nothing because you don't have the security code thing. I said, I have my account number. on the bill that you just sent me for $1, right? Can't do nothing, can't do nothing. I said, well, I still want to speak to a supervisor. Well, supervisor can't help you, and therefore they're busy and they can't get on the phone. I was so furious. To make a long story short, I finally hung up on him and I called back and I get this girl on the phone and she proceeds to tell me the same bullshit. And she says, we need that security key. I said, it's the same number that I have used for everything. I used it the very last day I had service with your company. I called, I gave that number, I explained why I was leaving, why I was switching carriers. So now you're telling me my security code isn't working. And now she says, well, the only thing that I could do to verify my account is to go into a T-Mobile store with ID to verify who I am to pay $1 bill. So at this point I said, you know what? I lost service nonstop for 2 weeks while I was driving on my cell phone. I shouldn't have to pay the $1. Now it's principle. Again, I'm with Verizon. I'm very happy. I got 4 bars nonstop on my phone. My service has been great. I have not been cut off, not once, ever, anywhere. And as far as T-Mobile goes, I was warned about this company before I even switched to them last year. And I said, it can't be that bad. It's bad. They're bad. So now, because I have an account number, I can't just give them an account number to pay $1. I'm not paying them. It's now the principle of how you treated me over the phone for $1. I'm not paying you. No, I'm not doing it. I am going to the store. I am going to get a security code and prove who I am. And I am going to call and finally talk to a supervisor and hopefully be able to turn in the guy and the girl that I spoke to today because they were rude and ignorant to me over the phone. That I am going to do. And then I'm going to refuse to pay the $1 because I should have been given credit for my phone nonstop losing service while I was driving out of state, places I knew nothing about, I've never been to. I mean, when I tell you again, like I lost service, that means I lost my GPS. I lost my phone service. I lost my text service. I couldn't do anything for miles on a road. Miles until the Wi-Fi kicked back in. Cell service kicked back in. Then I was able to use my phone. Now, I'm not supposed to be mad about this. The girl said to me, I hope, she says, please calm down. There's no reason to be mad over this. I'm not supposed to be mad for trying to pay you $1. And now that you've really blown it out of proportion and wouldn't let me pay the $1, like I don't get it. You wouldn't let me pay the $1. Now I'm not paying a $1. What are you going to do? Take me to court for $1? Are you kidding me? I mean, so many people. I was literally in Florida and one of my neighbors posted on Facebook about how she can't stand T-Mobile and how she's switching a new carrier. And I responded to her and I said, I am too, as soon as I get back home, because I have lost signal service throughout my whole trip. Yeah. So it's not like I'm the only one that has issues with T-Mobile. And yet they swear they got coverage all over the United States. Bullshit. If that was the case, I would not have constantly lost my cell service. So yeah, $1. You owe me more than $1 for the service that I didn't get for 2 weeks. So now I have to waste my time, go to a store, verify who I am, get a passcode that I already had. And you know what? I'm going to use the same exact password that I know I have on file, because the very last day I had service with them, I had to provide the same number. So when I get the new number, it's going to be the same number that I had from get-go. From the time, I don't even think I had T-Mobile for 8 months, if that. I don't think it's even been 8 months. It hasn't been a year. Now, has not been a year, but it has been the worst service I've ever had on my cell phone. Just a warning that this is my story. Like, I live in Philadelphia. I live in the city. So yeah, we have towers all over the place. And when I tell you I had 2 bars in my house, when I walked out my front door, I did get 4 bars. Okay, I don't want to misscrew that. I got 4 bars when I went out of my house. In my house, I got 2 bars. With Verizon, it's been 4 bars nonstop. No matter where I went to Jersey, I went to Delaware, I drive all over the place. 4 bars. In my house, 4 bars. No issues. None. And ironically, I'm saving $5 a month being with Verizon because I was paying $55 for T-Mobile and I'm paying $50 for Verizon. All right, with that being said, I'm getting off here. Everybody have a great day.